So you always want to try to be ahead of things.
Yeah.
Right? And then the other reason, quite honestly, is that the vendors themselves make it very clear that they have a playbook. They have a timeline. They have a plan. And some of that plan, by the way, is ignore. Like they don't show up till the last minute. Or there's an auto renewal clause, which don't get me started about that.
Welcome to Insights for IT Negotiations, a podcast by UpperEdge, a leading IT sourcing, negotiation, and project execution advisory firm. I'm John Belden, UpperEdge's Chief Research and Strategy Officer.
And I'm Kylie Chisholm, UpperEdge's Marketing Manager. Join us every other week as we share insights to help you maximize the value of your key IT relationships. In each episode, we'll delve into the topics that matter most to IT decision makers and sourcing professionals. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Insights for IT Negotiations. I am joined once again by my co-host, Adam. Adam, how are you doing this Monday?
I'm doing great.
That's
doing
good.
great. I always am doing okay. And then when we do our planning pre-call, my mind just goes all over the place. And
It really gets the creative ideas flowing.
a lot of flow.
A lot of flow. We affectionately call it our vocal warm-ups before joining these.
Yes.
But yes, we are recording this on a Monday. I guess it is likely a Thursday when everyone is listening to this, but that orients you guys into the time of the week that we're in. We're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to talk SaaS renewals.
We are.
So that is the topic of conversation for today. We're going to dive right in. This topic, we've talked about it a lot in the past. It evolved from one of our discussions the other day where you were telling me about how one of the most frequent questions you get from enterprise customers that have a renewal coming up is when is the best time that they should start to prepare? So when is the best time, and why do you think you get this question so much?
I do love this question. So a couple things. So why do I get it so much? I think it's like anything else in life. Like, I think when you have big things, big events, big decisions, holiday parties, it doesn't matter, right? Weddings, things, right? You always want to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time, at least for most of us, to be ready, right? It's a very common thing, I think, psychologically, right? Because the people we work with, at the end of the day, we're all humans. So I think the reason I get it is partly that, right? There's this innate kind of we're humans, we want to plan. I think there's another piece to this, which is there's been so many organizations, so many enterprises, so many CIOs, procurement executives, doesn't matter. They've all had the challenge of, even though they have good intentions, they've a year in advance, the renewal's coming, but then life happens too. Now, in this instance, I mean, there's issues that come up. There's other products. There's a change in the plan. We need to buy this product instead. The CEO or the C-suite decided we want to go in a different direction and we want to use a different vendor. Stuff happens. Not to mention, you talk CIO, they have other things they're doing.
Yeah.
There's issues with their website. There's issues with their e-commerce platform. There's internal security issues. Who knows? So you always want to try to be ahead of things.
Yeah.
Right? And then the other reason, quite honestly, is that the vendors themselves make it very clear that they have a playbook. They have a timeline. They have a plan. And some of that plan, by the way, is ignore. Like they don't show up till the last minute. Or there's an auto renewal clause, which don't get me started about that. So I think that's part of it, right? And then in terms of so that's why it's the number one question. And I would say at the top of all of this, right, is that when we work with our particular clients, they're usually very large stickers, large dollar amounts tied to these deals, massive vendors, Microsoft, Salesforce, ServiceNow, other SAP, Oracle, all these vendors, right? Like there's usually massive dollars in importance. So let alone it's always constantly top of mind.
Yeah. So then what do you tell them when they come to you with these questions, and when should these enterprises start to prepare for their renewal negotiations? Yeah,
so there's a couple of things, right? You always want to kind of understand the true situation, right? Like what's going on, like what other renewals do you have, like what capacity do you have, like you can plan it out. But generally speaking, I always recommend that you should basically right around the time when you cut your last check, because most of these SaaS deals you pay annually in advance.
Mm-hmm.
So you're about to enter in the last year of your 3-year deal or your 5-year deal. You cut your check, right? That's a nice little springboard or reminder to like, we need to start getting people together. And so I'd say about a year, 9 months, right? You're kind of, that's okay. Now I'm sure we'll talk more about this. There's plenty of customers that don't have the luxury of that or forget, or something happens, and we'll talk about that. But generally, if you can control the room, that's a nice window of time. And the real reason, it's not even about the negotiation. It's literally putting yourself in a position to have enough time to do all the prep work, all the due diligence work, internal stakeholder identification, establishing a unified communication plan, products you currently have. How are you using them? So forget new stuff. What do I need that I still have? How am I using what I already have? Internal discussions around, are we actually interested in doing some new things? Who's interested? Do they have budget? Do they have relationships in place? What does our current contract look like? How does it compare to the market? What do we have for protections? And there's a lot. And so I've always said, and my team and UpperEdge has always said, like, look, we got you. Like, we're good when it comes to the negotiation, but we're really good also ensuring this prep work is orchestrated the right way. And that's the other piece to this. In order to orchestrate, in order to do something well, you kind of have to have time. Yeah. So I would much rather allocate more time and have a little bit of leeway than not, right? Yeah. And lastly, the reason why giving yourself more time, a year, 9 months, because often you need to give a heads up to a lot of people probably. The IT stakeholders, the business stakeholders, the procurement teams, legal, C-suite, decision makers. Look at their calendars. Your organization, your enterprise, when do you have spikes? So we work with a lot of retailers that are like, yo, if you want to talk to me or get IT or people during the holidays, you're out of your mind. Like, we have thousands and thousands of other things going on. So in other words, like, if you give your time, you can also plan the particulars of your organization relative to access to people and literal access to mind share.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what's so interesting, especially the conversations that I've had with you. The negotiation itself is an important part, but it's such a small part. It really is. A good negotiation is those 9 months to a year's worth of prep work that goes into however long that negotiation ends up being, which is often a very small subset of that time frame.
It's exactly right. Like, it's like anything else in life. Like, I keep saying that phrase, but it's true, right? Like, if you approach something and you don't give yourself that amount of time and you don't do that due diligence before you get to the table, before you enter the court in basketball, before you go out to the golf course and play golf, right? So like, do you have the right clubs? Have you have the right swing? Do you have the right hat, equipment? Do you have a sweat guard for additional sweat that you may be getting, which by the way is a really cool product. I'm not going to promote it, but someone go Google that. And I would just say, like, you have that impacts how you actually play, how you actually negotiate. And I learned this a long time ago, especially knowing your opponent. Like, this is another big part of it. Spending enough time to understand the vendor, what matters to them, what doesn't matter to them. And we're going to be talking about this specifically about Salesforce. Next week? We're doing our webinar, and there's a whole part. The reason why we cover that is because we're hoping that, like, organizations latch on to this, and it helps with that prep work. But if you fast forward all the way to like, hey, we want a proposal, and okay, well, like, all that legwork, that's where you're going to arm yourself to get the right deal.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, you're hurting yourself, your opportunities.
Did you know that UpperEdge offers subscription advisory services? This on-demand solution provides essential benchmarks and market insights specific to your business needs precisely when you need it, empowering you and your team to make informed decisions for your IT initiatives. Position your team for success. Reach out today via the link in the show notes to learn more.
What happens if an enterprise doesn't have that much time? Like you said, things happen, whether they didn't set themselves up for success, didn't know, things happen, interrupts their timeline. What advice do you have for them? What's the fastest and best way that they can recover when they don't have that much time?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a really good point, and I'm glad you circled back to this because there's the reality of the situation, right? Like people are gonna be like, yeah, Adam, that's great. A year before, 9 months before, like that doesn't exist in my world. Okay, cool. Yeah. But here's the thing. I would first, obviously not to plug, but bringing in someone like us to help you prioritize and things like that is a good recommendation. But I think, one of the things I would do is I would really quickly understand, like as quickly as possible, first, do we have control of the room? Meaning, do we have the people who are interacting with that vendor, Salesforce, Microsoft, ServiceNow, within our company? So the procurement people, the legal people, the C-suite people. Do we understand where interactions are occurring? We need to get a unified message as quickly as possible to those people. So it might include shutting down some conversations. It might include, this is the 3 bullets we'd like all of you to weave into your next conversation, which is, hey, we got a renewal coming up. We're going to have a group that's going to be reaching out. Like that's really, really important. You have to get that message locked down. Okay. Mm-hmm. The second one is, and this is a big one, take a minute and step back. If you've only been focused on what you think you're going to need moving forward, products, volumes, new stuff, great. But really pause and really drill in on, even though you think, hey, I'll use the example. We're a Microsoft 365 E5 customer. There's enough within that SKU that we know was going to require us to renew. Mm-hmm. I get it. But I really think taking a quick step back to look at the pieces you won't use that are within E5, even if it's only 20% of it, really try to figure that out. Really try to figure out where there's air, okay? Then it's as quickly as possible, know your options.
Yeah.
Like there's so many instances where, and listen, the vendors are very good at driving this. It's like you think you may only have one path. As quickly as possible, understand, well, maybe there's 3 different ways you can approach this, 3 different licensing models, 3 different sets of products, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And then the last piece to get up to speed and be able to run, I would really, 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 really make sure you understand as quickly as possible as to what actually is a good deal.
Yeah.
And again, I know this could seem like it's a plug for us. I get it. But a lot of people who listen to this already are customers. So, but I'm just saying, like, really understand not what you did last year or what you might think or what could be or generic. I mean, like right now, as quickly as you can ascertain it, like what does a good deal in this point in time look like? Mm-hmm. Not what it used to look like. What does it look like now? Which also goes to the part I mentioned before that I think is very important. If you want to get up to speed, if you're running out of time, as quickly as possible, understand what matters. Because what matters to that vendor, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Microsoft, at that point in time could be completely different than what mattered to them even 3 months before.
Yeah.
Right? So give yourself those stages as fast as you possibly can. Ensure there's prioritization. Mm-hmm. But honestly, like, there are core principles. Sometimes you may be able to also do it, but maybe not to the fullest degree, but doing it to some degree is going to be important.
And then the last sort of time-bound question that I have for you. So what about situations where a procurement team learns that the business or IT want to add some products before their renewal date? So maybe their renewal date's really far out, and they want to get that done as soon as possible. So we're looking at sort of an interim negotiation. Do you have any tips or guidance for that?
Yes, I do. But yes, that's a very familiar one too. So here's the thing. And again, there's no judgment. Anyone who knows me or listens to these, like I'm pretty straight shooter. Like I just come from my reactionary position, but like I get it. I get some situations are somewhat out of the line of businesses or the C-suite's control. Like, yeah, they have an initiative. There's a need. There's a force pushing them in this path. They want to keep up with the Joneses, whatever it may be. I get it. Couple quick things. I also understand that in the world that we deal with, these interim purchases are very common. Because these vendors are pushing, doing more, upselling, upgrades, add more product. They don't just wait till renewal date. They want it as much as they possibly can. So I get that pressure too. So a couple things. The key to this whole thing, the first is if you have the ability to take and look at what other stuff you already have. So your renewal's a year from now, but you got to do a deal this month. Look at your group of individuals that own that forecasting who might not be interested in thinking about what they're going to be doing a year from now. But if you can get some line of sight into needs and wants on some of the other things, and you might be able to do an early renewal. So it's not just the add in of the thing you're buying or the upgrade. It's can you go to that vendor and say, hey, I want to do this, but I want you to look at all the other stuff I have. And maybe we'll do the whole thing at once. If you can do that, assess that if you can or can't. So if you can, leverage goes up. You need to make sure you do it right. If you can't, okay, this happens a lot. Now it becomes setting yourself up so that at an executive level, in all levels within your organization, interacting with that vendor, there's a clear understanding. One, here's what I need for the thing itself. So if you want me to add or upgrade or add Copilot or add HRSD for ServiceNow and an ITSM customer or Salesforce, you want me to go down the Agentforce path, whatever that is, I want the right pricing, the right transparency, the right protections, the right commitments, flexibility. I need all that for that. The siloed order form. But I also need a commitment, and you need to understand something. I'm not able to do everything at once now. But know this, I am going to expect that this that I'm giving you is going to be appropriately accounted for when it comes time to do my actual future renewal of the other things I already have. I am going to expect this. So you and I are going to be talking executive to executive. We're going to talk, and I'm going to know very quickly if I made a bad decision to give you business now without accounting for the whole thing. Don't make me feel that way, because if I do then feel that way, it's not going to be beneficial to you at that point. What I might do is I may take that a certain way and tell my team to scrutinize that next renewal. So maybe we'll take stuff out then. So it's that penny wise, pound foolish. The other thing, depending on how far out your renewal date is, and you need to add something in term, if your terms that you already have are good, you should ensure those get transferred into the new deal that you're doing, the add-on. And I would highly recommend co-terming it. Now, this one gets controversial because sometimes, like, well, Adam, my renewal's in a year, so I don't really want to do a 1-year deal because, like, we're going to be using this new product. It's going to take us that long to roll it out. But if you can co-term it, going back to what I said a minute ago, the whole complete negotiation then it has to include everything. Right? So there's some dynamics there. And again, I always preface this, that's the general commentary. Obviously, getting in, assessing your actual situation, what the particulars are, that's always very important to make those recommendations. But that's the thing. And the last thing I just say, it's critically important to make sure you get that consensus. So in other words, even if you only have a month, like that unified message, that approach that you're all going to be taking still has to be in place. You got to get everyone on board, even though it's a short window, of the here is what we're doing, everyone stay on message.
That's really great advice. I really appreciate you walking through all of this, Adam, because like you said a couple of times throughout the episode, these are all very familiar situations. A lot of enterprises, I think, find themselves trying to figure out how to navigate renewal negotiations, when they should start to navigate them, and how to fix it when it's a little bit too late. So I think this will be really helpful. And like you said, this advice that you gave, it's relevant to all SaaS vendors, but we do have some Salesforce stuff, both with UpperEdge and with Salesforce itself coming up. We have our webinar next week where we will dive even deeper into Salesforce negotiations. And then Dreamforce is right around the corner. It's about 2 months away, I believe, if I'm
less
doing my math
than 2
correctly.
months.
Less than 2 months.
1 month.
1 month away. That's right. It's a little earlier this year, I think.
September 15th. And I don't even know who the musical guest is going to be like.
That's what I'm holding my breath waiting for.
The number one thing. We'll have to do one of these episodes. Once we know who it is, we should just do a whole
episode on that.
We'll do a pre and post. What do we think of the announcement? What should we expect? And then post, how was the show?
How was the show? Yes. Love it. Perfect. So stay on the lookout for that episode, everyone.
Yes.
But in the meantime, definitely check out our webinar. I'll make sure to have everything linked below so people can join that and talk a little bit further about Salesforce. And then if you have anything as far as other SaaS vendors go, we are always here to help. So feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to set up time for you to chat with Adam and his team. But otherwise, I really appreciate everyone listening. I appreciate your time, Adam. And we will catch you guys in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Insights for IT Negotiations. This episode was hosted by John Belden and Kylie Chisholm and produced by Mike Brown. Be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss a new episode. For more information on IT sourcing and risk management strategies, visit UpperEdge.com and subscribe to our monthly UpperEdge newsletter. Thank you for listening.